I used to believe words couldn't hurt as much as actions, that they were just sounds floating in the air, gone when silence returned. But that night proved me wrong. Words can shatter everything you built in a single breath. My name's Sarah. I've been married to Caleb for 7 years. He's the kind of man who doesn't talk much about himself. Quiet, steady, the kind of anchor you don't even realize is keeping you grounded. He's not flashy or loud, just reliable in a way that makes you feel safe. Maybe that's part of what went wrong. I got too comfortable, too used to the security he offered. It was a Friday night dinner with our friends in Boise, Idaho, for couples around a table, filled with laughter, wine, and a flood of old stories. Conversation drifted toward relationships, the usual jokes about who wore the pants. I was sipping my drink, smiling, feeling that little rush when all eyes were on me. "Sarah, you're lucky," my friend Mia said. "Caleb's a saint. I don't think I've ever seen him mad." And then I said it, the sentence that would change everything. I laughed and replied, "That's because he's more like my second child than my husband." The table erupted in laughter. The buzz of validation, of being the funny one, felt good. Even Mia chuckled. Everyone thought it was harmless. Everyone except Caleb. He didn't laugh, didn't say a word, just stared at his plate. Stillness that others might have seemed calm. But I knew better. That was the quiet that comes just before something breaks. I noticed, but brushed it off. I thought he'd get over it. It was a joke, right? The evening went on, but Caleb stayed silent. When teased, he smiled faintly, polite, detached. Then, while everyone discussed vacation plans, he looked up. "You're right, Sarah. Sometimes it does feel like I'm just another one of your kids, especially when I'm the only one in this marriage remembering how to be an adult." The laughter died instantly. The soft clink of wine glasses echoed as everyone froze. My stomach dropped. His voice wasn't loud, but it cut deeper than any shout could, calm, precise, heavy enough to fill the room. I wanted to laugh it off again, pretend it was playful banter, but the way he looked at me made my throat dry. That was the moment I realized a man I thought would never stand up for himself finally had. The drive home was silent, painfully, suffocatingly silent. Streetlights flickered across his face, jaw tight, eyes forward. I wanted to speak, anything, but every word I rehearsed sounded wrong. When we reached our house on Maple Street, Caleb got out without waiting. I followed, heart pounding. "Caleb," I began softly. "You know I didn't mean it that way. It was just a joke." "A joke?" he repeated quietly, hanging up his coat. "You embarrassed me in front of our friends. And now it's a joke." I sighed, trying to stay calm. Everyone jokes about their partners. "You're taking this too seriously." He faced me then, eyes usually warm and gentle now tired. "No, Sarah, you've been joking about me for a long time. Tonight was just the first time I called you out on it." His words hit harder than I expected. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. He walked past me into the living room, as if a decade had aged him in one night. "You know what's funny?" he said after a long pause. "I listen to you tell stories about our life like you're the only one living it. I'm always the punchline, the forgetful husband, the boring man, the one who doesn't get it. And every time I let you laugh at me because I thought it made you happy." My chest tightened. "Caleb, Tonight I realized something," he interrupted, voice low. "You don't respect me anymore. You respect how people see you when you make jokes about me." I felt my stomach twist. "That's not true," I said, tears stinging. "I love you. You know I love you." "No, Sarah. You love the version of me that doesn't speak up, the one who stays quiet so you can shine." The silence after his words was worse than any yelling could have been. For the first time, I saw how small he had made himself for me, how often he'd smiled through disrespect to avoid a fight. That realization burned. He stood, looked at me once more, and said, "I think we should take some space. I need to remember who I was before being someone's punchline." Then he walked to the guest room, shutting the door softly behind him. The quietest goodbye I've ever heard. The following days felt hollow. I went through the motions, work, errands, dinners alone, but the air itself felt heavier. Caleb barely spoke. We shared a roof but lived like ghosts in separate worlds. At night, I'd hear him moving in the guest room, packing slowly. Each sound made my chest ache. I wanted to talk to fix it, but shame kept my voice locked inside. Every word I could say felt too small, too late. A week later, I came home to find him gone. Half his clothes, tools, favorite coffee mug, even the faint trace of his cologne lingering like a memory refusing to fade. On the kitchen table lay a folded note, neat, painfully polite. Sarah, I've spent years trying to laugh with you, but somewhere along the way, you started laughing at me. Maybe you didn't mean to, but you did. I don't hate you. I don't wish you harm. I just need peace, the kind that doesn't come from pretending everything's fine. Take care of yourself. Caleb. I must have read that note 100 times. Each line cut deeper than the last. No anger, no accusations, just quiet disappointment. Somehow that hurt more than rage ever could. I replayed that night endlessly. The laughter, the look on his face, the silence. I told myself it was harmless. The truth was, I'd use humor to hide how disconnected we'd become. It wasn't a single joke that ended us. It was a pattern. The little digs, the public jabs, the moments where I chose attention over affection. I'd made him feel small to feel seen. One evening, I returned his watch to his brother in Meridian, Idaho. Caleb answered the door, calm, lighter somehow. He didn't invite me in, and I didn't ask. I read your note, I said quietly. You were right. I stopped respecting you without realizing it. He nodded, not unkindly. I hope you learn to stop doing that. Not just to me, but to anyone who loves you. That was the last time I saw him. Months later, I still catch myself stopping mid-laugh at a friend's joke, remembering how easy it is to wound someone with words disguised as humor. And whenever someone asks what happened to my marriage, I tell the truth. I mistook love for tolerance. Because sometimes the cruelest thing you can do isn't betrayal. It's making the person who loves you feel like a fool.